stocks at a very tight 700,000 tons. Ag Canada bumps up the carryover for 2021-22 to a still tight 750,000 tons. The Canadian Grain Commission reports producer deliveries of canola for the week ending May 16th are down nearly 15% at almost 206,000 tons. Canola exports drop approximately 56% at 98,000 tons. Domestic usage nudges up by about 2% at nearly 193,000 tons. Reports state that the drought in North Dakota now rates D4 exceptional drought, with more than 16% of the state in that condition. The 30 to 90 day forecast for the U.S. is calling for the Western Plains to be drier than normal, while the Midwest and Eastern Corn Belt are to receive above normal precipitation. The Wheat Quality Council tour of Kansas wrapped up on Thursday. The tour's average yield for hard red wheat is 58.1 bushels per acre. If that prediction holds, it would exceed the Kansas record yield of 57 bushels per acre set in 2016. Rounding off prices at the Chicago Board of Trade, soybean futures are lower on Friday. The July soybean contract drops a dime at $15.23 per bushel. July soy oil is down 0.4 of a cent at 65.36 U.S. cents per pound. July soy meal is down $1.50 at $3.9960 per hundredweight. Corn futures are lower on Friday morning, with the July contract losing a nickel at $6.60 per bushel. Chicago oats are lower, with the July contract down 3 cents at $3.55.5. Wheat futures are lower as well on Friday morning, with Chicago July falling 5.5 cents at $6.70. Kansas City July drops 4 cents at $6.21, and Minneapolis July loses 3.5 cents at $6.92. That's a look at the ICE futures and the Chicago markets for Friday morning, May 21st. For Markets Farm in Winnipeg, I'm Glenn Halleck.
Spring is here, and so are the savings during New Holland's Spring Drive Sales event, going on now at Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John. It's a great time to get the New Holland equipment you need for a new season and work more productively than ever. Limited time 0% financing and cashback offers are available now on select New Holland tractors and hay and forage equipment. Stop by Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John today, because just like spring, Spring Drive savings won't last long.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Welcome to the show. A little later on, we're going to be chatting with Isabelle Cayford about a petition her and her family are backing for a National Day of DIPG Awareness and how that would help research and funding efforts for the disease. But first, we've got the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. They announced in April that they've contracted a health advocate to provide strategic guidance in improving access to health care for residents of the municipality. So that advocate, Doug Blackie, joins us now from Nanaimo. Doug, thank you so much for being on Moose Talks today.
Yeah, absolutely my pleasure to be on the air this morning, and doing a bit of a workaround on our audio here, but it's great to be part of your morning up there.
Yeah, you'll never know what'll happen here in radio. All right, we'll get straight to it. So you're the new health advocate for the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. Can you tell us a bit about how that job came to you? How did you get it?
Yeah, well, it was through a request for proposal from the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. I have sort of an ongoing relationship through various roles that I've had when I worked at the Ministry of Health as well as in the health authorities, where Fort Nelson was a recurring theme for a lot of my work around recruitment and retention and those sorts of things, as well as emergency transport. So over the last 7 or so years, I've developed, I think, a good working relationship with the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. And when I saw the RFP, I thought, well, that's some work that I enjoy doing. It's the type of work I do with clients around the province. And I think it was a really nice fit. So, we put our proposal in, and the regional council liked what they saw, and so far, so good.
Yeah, as you've been on the job kind of officially, I suppose, for about a month now. So, originally we kind of phoned you. It wasn't quite exactly when the announcement was made, but we talked to you and said, hey, would you be interested in being on the show? You said, sure, but I'm going to know more essentially in a few weeks' time, so it'll be better then. So we've got you now. So, after a month kind of dealing with this so far, have you got a clearer picture of kind of what the situation is like in the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality? And can you tell us a bit about what that situation is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I remember you asking it originally. And true. I mean, I've been on the file for about a month and a half. And part of our first step of our consulting work with the Northern Rockies has been really getting out and talking to people. And, pre-COVID, it would have been having meetings with people, having coffee, and just talking about life in the Northern Rockies and health services and what an ideal future would look like. But we've done a lot of it, almost all of it on Zoom. And we've had a really great response, and we've talked to, regional counselors, people who run health and social agencies in the Northern Rockies, the Fort Nelson First Nation, as well as people from the Doctors of British Columbia, Northern Health, and we've also talked to BC Emergency Health Services. So really trying to get a good sense of what the current state is, and what people's aspirations are for the future. What are the big priorities in the Northern Rockies? The Northern Rockies Regional Municipality, or the community, had done a community health plan about 3 years ago. It's a 3-year plan, and it's expiring this year. And it identified between 6 and about 12 priorities that they felt were, the things that they needed for the community and for the region in terms of health services. So part of our consultations over the last month or so have really validated a lot of those priorities from a couple of years ago, which is good. But they've also surfaced a number of different priorities or nuances to those priorities, which I think are important as well. And those tend to fall into, a few different buckets. One of them is around the regionalization of healthcare services. So over the years, a number of services have been moved from Fort Nelson to places like Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, and Prince George. And there's lots of really good reasons why that's occurred in terms of patient safety and quality and practitioner competency and those sorts of things, and just availability of the services. But it does require people to travel then. So anything above and beyond, sort of normal or regular healthcare, people then have to travel. So we have heard stories of people spending $10,000, $20,000 to travel for cancer care, for example, or individuals and families having to drive 9 hours to Prince George when a loved one is receiving care there. So regionalization has resulted in some challenges around transport, and as well, I would say the one of the things that has really emerged since that community health plan was done a couple of years ago, and with COVID, is the value of virtual care. And suddenly services that were never dreamt of to be delivered over video are now being delivered through video. And it's become very normal. I mean, these sorts of interactions like we're doing this morning are just kind of the norm now, in terms of how we talk to our families and how we talk to, our media partners and people like that, but also how we receive health care. So in some respects, virtual care, telehealth, things like that have really risen in terms of people's consciousness and as well as priorities. So those sorts of priorities have emerged and has been validated from the previous health plan in terms of regionalization, transportation, virtual care. But one of the things that has come up, and it came up yesterday, we were doing a workshop with folks in the Northern Rockies, and recruitment and retention. It's always sort of been there in the background, but what we were working on yesterday were some really more specific approaches to trying to attract and keep healthcare professionals in the Northern Rockies. And this is a problem across British Columbia, across rural British Columbia, is attracting and keeping healthcare professionals in the community. And it's, Fort Nelson and the Northern Rockies is not alone in that.
Well, that's actually my very next question is, I wanted to ask if there were other towns or areas, whether it's in BC or in Canada, that you can compare to the situation in the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality and even draw inspiration from some of the situations and ways they've been able to improve service given the difficulty, as you say, with regionalization. Is there a model perhaps somewhere else in this country that you could say, this is what we could all be doing better, we could be more like them?
Yeah, one of the things, and that's, it's a really great question, because one of the things that's really stood out for me over the last 7 or so years that I've been working with the folks in Fort Nelson in the Northern Rockies is that they really are a leader when it comes to community engagement and community participation and that collective effort within the community to create partnerships and collaborative discussion tables and things like that to focus on healthcare. And a lot of the leadership certainly rests with the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality, but as well as the Fort Nelson First Nation and all the community groups, the physicians, and Northern Health. They're all partners at the moment on a steering committee which has been attempting to implement the community health plan. And that in itself, the collaborative committee and the collaboration between all of the partners is a model that we have seen across BC. And I've been doing some work with an organization called the Rural Coordination Centre of BC. It's funded by the Ministry of Health and the Doctors of BC. And one of the models that is used by the RCCBC, and we've successfully used across the province, is called the Pentagram Partnership Model. And it's a model where in order to make sustainable change in a community, you need to ensure that all the voices are present. First Nations, citizens, patients, providers, academics, healthcare administrators, the policymakers, the people from the Ministry of Health. Everyone needs to have a voice at that table in order to make sustainable change. And what we're seeing in the Northern Rockies is they've done that. And so a lot of my work is really around strengthening now that collaboration and focusing the efforts. But I think there are, as you said, there are models around the province. There's a lot of communities that have similar challenges to the Northern Rockies. But the Northern Rockies, I think a lot of people and your listeners will know, is unique in terms of its geographic location in the province. It is 4 hours north of Fort St. John, 9 hours of Prince George, 5 or 6 hours out of Grand Prairie and places like that. So because it has a sort of an area population at the moment about around 4,000, 5,000 people, it's a significant part of the province that in some respects may not be amenable, like that some of the policies and approaches that we have to providing healthcare services in rural communities, in a way, I think Fort Nelson and the Northern Rockies needs to have a more innovative approach. I would really shy away from saying it's a special case. It isn't a special case because that has all sorts of different meanings to it. But it really does require, I think, an innovative and different approach to ensuring health service equity because of its geographic location and its importance to the province, both economically and socially. I was reminded yesterday that the Northern Rockies land mass, it's a unique municipal model, is 10% of BC's land mass. It is a huge area. Yes, 5,000 or so people in the various communities around, but it's an important part of the province. And I think it's going to require, a creative and some innovative ways of looking at how health services are provided.
All right, Doug, we've got just about a minute left, so we'll squeeze in this final question for you. Do you have a timeline? Is there sort of a timeline where the regional municipality is hoping that you'll be able to put forward some of these solutions, facilitate conversations, offer strategies, and what is that timeline?
Sure, yeah. The contract I have with them, will go for probably another 9 months or so. So we're really hoping over the next little while. I talked a moment ago about the workshop that we just did. Mm-hmm. That workshop was really around trying to pinpoint some specific small things that we can start right now, some that will help leverage some of the bigger priorities that they have. So I'm going to be developing with the Regional Council and those partners a draft strategy probably over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we hope to have a draft strategy then tabled with Regional Council in the next month so that we can start the work right away. And that's not to say that work isn't ongoing. Just a week and a half ago, the mayor was having a meeting with the CEO of Northern Health. And so this advocacy work is an ongoing thing, but what we're hoping in the next couple of months is that we'll have a really robust and targeted strategy that we can start implementing. And of course, regional council needs to endorse this. They are my client, but we're hoping to have something ready to go, I would say, in the next month or so, and then, over the summer to really start that work and then double down in the fall.
Excellent, Doug. Well, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us today. We'll be, I'm sure, checking in with you and the regional council there as this story develops, and hopefully some improvements can be made while you're advocating for them. Doug, thank you very much for joining us today on Moose Talks.
Absolutely my pleasure, and have a great day and a great long weekend up in the Northeast.
Excellent. That's Doug Blackie, the new health advocate for the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. We'll be right back to talk to Isabelle Cayford right after this on Moose Talks.
Your annual camping trip, your weekend hike, your house, your family business, your hometown. Wildfires destroy more than trees. Be responsible with cigarettes and report any signs of a wildfire to star 5555 on your cell or 1-800-663-5555. Learn more at bcwildfire.ca. A message from the Government of British Columbia.
There's a lot going on at Magmar Maintenance. Not only have they moved and opened a tire craft, but they're also hiring. They're looking for skilled journeyman automotive technicians with experience in all aspects of the trade. Preference will also be given to diesel engine mechanics and diagnostic specialists. They also need tire technicians with experience in passenger light truck, medium truck, highway truck, and trailer tires. Email resume to hr@magmar.ca. Magmar Maintenance, now on Talton Road in Fort St. John.
Kick off camping season this long weekend in Grand Prairie. Stay and play in McGovern's RV and Marine Campground at Evergreen Park. Book 3 nights, only pay for 2. Reserve online, evergreenpark.ca. Promo code CONCERT.
Saturday night, catch the exclusive showing of the Bon Jovi concert on the Big Drive-In movie screen. Alberta health protocols in place.
Stay and play in McGovern's RV and Marine Campground. Concert tickets and campground reservations online at evergreenpark.ca.
Here's the deal. It's the long weekend. Time to turn off your laptop and turn on the barbecue. But before you do, head to Safeway, where you'll find delicious prime rib roast, $7.99 a pound, and wild Alaska sockeye salmon, just $2.99 for 100 grams. Also, Compliments lemonade or iced tea or Mott's Clamato or garden cocktail, 2 for $5. And 1 liter of Heinz ketchup is just $2.97. The best long weekends are filled with family, fun, and food. Safeway, ingredients for life. See in store and flyer for details.
When it comes to iPhones, most people think you can't replace a battery, but Micro Consulting can. If you need a new battery, see the crew at Micro Consulting, because battery life is important. It's how you stay connected, take care of business, and keep in touch with the ladies. See? They just don't stop calling. Hello there. Oh, hi Mom. Also, remember to update your contacts.
For new batteries, screen replacements, parts and more, see Micro Consulting Sales and Service, keeping you connected on 100th Street and on Facebook. Vehicles are a lot like people. Sure, they look nice, all shined up, but when you add a few accessories here and there, dynamite! At Graphic Signs and Auto Designs, they've got all the accessories your vehicle could ever need. We're talking everything from lights to mud flaps to floor mats, even backup alarms or deer alarms for your fleet vehicle. Give your vehicle that little extra something with Graphic Signs and Auto Designs, now in their new location on Alaska Road. Check out GraphicSignsFSJ.com.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to Moose Talks. I'm Dub Craig. Now, there's a petition going around that our local member of parliament and I believe our local MLA both signed, calling for May 17th to be named a National Day of Awareness for DIPG. And as part of that, the family of Adora Cayford has put their names behind it. They would like to see this happen and for Canada to recognize it as a National Awareness Day. So to talk a bit about that and their experiences with DIPG, we're joined now by by Isabelle Cayford, mother of Adora Cayford. Isabelle, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today on Moose Talks.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. So let's kind of dive into your family story, which I think is fairly well known around town. There was lots of news about it. If I remember right, some GoFundMes to kind of help pay for situations and whatnot. Can you kind of briefly tell us a bit about what DIPG is, first of all?
DIPG is the leading cause of brain tumor death in children. From the age of 4 to 11 years old, or the most age that affects them. It's in the pawn of the brain where the nerve starts, and what it does is it grows and take room and push pressure on the nerves, and it takes sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It takes one sense at a time. So the vision, most of the time, the kids are diagnosed late, and it's because they lost their vision, or they can't walk, or they lost one side of their face, their mouth go down. Adora was diagnosed really early because she was having very strong headaches when she laid down, and that wasn't normal. So she was diagnosed in Vernon very early. So she didn't have she didn't experience all of those side effects right away.
Mm-hmm. This would be a tough question to answer, but I'd like for you to kind of explain to me, if you can, what it was like for you and your family when you got that diagnosis, when the doctor said, this is what it is, it's an incurable brain tumor. What were you feeling at the time? Was there any hope, or did you quickly have to accept that we're essentially going to have to make Adora comfortable for kind of the time she has left?
The first second, the room got very small, even if it was already small. They had a lot of specialists in the room.
Yeah.
It was very clear that it was it. They were not mistaking, and they were very clear on the fatal ending of this, and we took it like a punch in the gut. But be honest, I think all of us till the end, we didn't want to believe, we kept hope. Verily, we didn't want to believe, so we kept hope there till the entire time. We had we were planning on so how we're going to deal with Adora in her wheelchair in the house, and like we really believed that she was the miracle that we all want to hear about. She was doing so good. She was doing so good in the last 3 months. She went down the drain very fast. It was very scary to know that we had to tell her that everything was fine, that we were all together, we were doing this together. For her, knowing that she was going to leave us, I think the hardest part was not to be with us anymore, missing out on everything. For us, it was, I can't even describe what it was. Hearing our last breath was the end of the world. It broke us apart. Broke everything inside. It gave us a new reality in life. And cancer for children, we don't hear about it. Nobody wants to hear about it. We're parents. We want healthy babies in the belly. They're born healthy. We're happy. We deal with what's coming up every day. Cancer is the last thing you want to hear. Cancer, you don't research cancer. You don't want to know about it. It's like if you know about it, it will happen. So when we fell into this world of cancer, that family is big. Adora is not the only one that passed away in the last 6 months. And then not only with DIPG, children with cancer they don't have much research going on, especially with DIPG. It's not known. And because it's a part of your body that you cannot go in, it's too dangerous to go in there. The Canadian law is not letting them do a lot of biopsy to get some of it to study it. So it's been a little bit more in the last 10 years. Parents have been, the thing is that the parents have to give the cancer to research. So that's mean you have to give your baby to research. So you have to choose if they're going to be passing away at home or in the hospital, or how quick things is gonna happen. And living here in a small community like we are, we don't have access to these major hospital where things can happen much faster. Fortunately for with us, with Adora, in March, her cancer went down her spine, and they were able to go and get a piece to study. So it was sent to every research out there through the world. So we were pleased to be able to help. It was a big decision for us to take because we knew Adora would have to go through surgery, and then she suffered a lot from that back surgery. But it's been researched, and Adora had the most dangerous DIPG form of cancer. She had the most aggressive one. I don't have all the good words like ACE. They have a code beside it. Most of these children with it, they do pass away in the first 9 to 10 months. Adora did 11. Some children pass away they pass away in the radiation room. That cancer is not known. It's been like this for the last 40, 45 years. Neil Armstrong, he lost his little girl with DIPG, and a little bit later he walked on Mars, on the moon, I mean. So the technology hasn't improved for these children, and the only reason why is because we're not aware of it. We don't know what's happening. The Canadian, they only give like 154,000 every year for DIPG itself to be studied, and this doesn't give us anything. 30 radiation, go home, 9 months, make memories. That's what they tell us. Of course, you want to go home, you want to study the entire world, you want to send her everywhere. You got lots of study going on around the world, but not in Canada. We had medicine coming from Germany that all the GoFundMe paid for, and it got stuck at the border of the Canadian border, where the FDA just refused it. And we got it on the 23rd of June, and Adora passed away the 1st of July. We know some children on it that have been on it, ONC201, for 2 years, 3 years, that have survived. Now then again, maybe that's because they don't have that such aggressive cancer, but we will never know with Adora. So we would like to have the Canadian on our side. We would like to have Canada to study. We want to raise awareness for these children that so many have passed away that they had no chance to start right from the start.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. So you guys then, it came out earlier this week that you've signed the petition. You're advocating for a petition for Canada to name May 17th National Day of Awareness for DIPG. It raises awareness, as you say. People will be encouraged to wear, I don't have it in front of me, but there's a couple colors in kind of support and awareness of it. What is Canada moving forward on something like this mean to you? Because some people might say, well, it's just a day. What does it matter? What would it mean to you and families dealing with, and families who've had to deal with DIPG, for Canada to step up and name that day as a day of awareness for DIPG?
Well, that's a great question. Honestly, every morning, us family that have experienced the loss of our children that way. Now, DIPG is one of the most aggressive cancer, where they die, they end up in a body coma where they're aware of everything. So it's kind of like being buried in your own coffin and not being able to get out. Experience that with your children and hearing their last breath. We experience this every morning, that we wake up again and again and again. Now, Adora is going to be July 1st that she passed away. It's going to be a year soon. And every morning we wake up and it happens again to us. And it's okay. It's not everybody that, we don't want nobody to know this, because if you do, that's because you're with us. But what we want is that these children that suffered so much are not forgotten. And what we want is to be prepared for the next one coming, that when another family hears this and the loss that they feel inside, they know that we have been working on and we've been going ahead and we are finding new and we have hope. And if can we get a better treatment for them to suffer less? Can when they fall in this coma, can we figure out a way of letting them go faster? Can we for them to not suffer so much? A day, an awareness, a day just for them, that gives them, that keeps them alive. It gives them a purpose. We didn't lose them I don't even know how to say that properly. Like, her death is not lost. We can use it to go forward in the future, to help these children. Every day is got a child that is diagnosed, and every day is another one passing away, and we want to stop that. So if we have one day that everybody in Canada, even around the world, now we have the US, Australia, the UK, that are working for May 17th. So if we can all gather together in one day to remember all these children, it keeps them all alive, and it makes us, family that lost these little kids, a purpose to live and find joy in life again, and maybe keep us all strong together so that we can save these children. And it starts there. The awareness starts there. Now the government will pay attention to us if the community, every community get together, we make this big group, we're loud, we tell the Canadian government we want help, it will happen. And that's what we want with this day.
All right, Isabelle. Well, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us today and telling a story that's must be really hard to tell over and over, but in the end is for a good cause, and hopefully we get a day named for a National Day of Awareness for DIPG. Thank you very much, Isabelle, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and Adora will be so proud of us. And thank you again for giving us some time.
You're very welcome. It's Isabelle Cayford, who's advocating for a National Day of Awareness for DIPG. We'll be right back to wrap things up on Moose Talks right after this.
Why City Furniture? Remember this?
The little store that makes the big boys cry. City Furniture.
Now, City Furniture has grown to over 20 locations. We're locally owned, but with the buying power of the big box stores. In fact, we're one of the larger retailers in Western Canada, and previously we were named the Western Canadian Retailer of the Year. Appliances, furniture, mattresses. We don't sell, we help you buy. Growing for over 40 years.
City Furniture on 100th in Fort St. John.
There's always something going on in the energetic city, and the staff from the City of Fort St. John Recreation Department have planned a variety of exciting programs and events. Here's what's coming up.
May is MS Awareness Month, and since Canada has one of the highest MS rates in the world, the City of Fort St. John is lighting up Centennial Park and Stage in red on May 30th to help raise awareness.
For more information on this event, view the Recreation and Leisure Guide at fortstjohn.ca or follow the City of Fort St. John Recreation on Facebook.
If you're looking for hassle-free internet services, call the Peace Region Internet Society today. With coverage throughout most of the Peace, PRIS can get you connected quickly without the hassle of contracts or bundles. Visit PRIS.ca or call 1-800-768-3311 for more information.
This Sports Booster is brought to you by First Choice Towing. For all your towing needs, lockouts, boosters, tows, they do it all 24/7. Call 250-785-2271. You can count on First Choice Towing for all your towing needs.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
Welcome back to the program. A big thanks to our guests, Doug Blackie and Isabelle Cayford, for joining us today. Now, we were talking a lot about that petition for a National Day of Awareness for DIPG. If you'd like to sign the petition or find out more about it and the cause itself, we did a story about it on energeticcity.ca earlier this week. You can just search it up there, and there is a link to the petition in there. And also a reminder until Sunday that Burger King here in town is donating the proceeds from the sale of their pies to DIPG Awareness and Research, so you can help out a little bit there as well. Well, that does it for this episode of Moose Talks. It is produced by Trey Lopashinsky. I'm Dub Craig. Have a great day.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.